Are you still using ChatGPT to write emails, draft blog posts, and generate new business ideas, but you're wondering why nothing in your business actually feels easier? Well, that's because you're stuck at level 1. And the honest truth is that most businesses and business owners are. You're playing around with a lot of AI tools on the surface, but underneath, your operations are still slow, manual, and completely dependent on human follow-up. In this video, I'm going to show you the real path to integrating AI and getting leverage from it within your business. We're going to keep it simple. I'm going to go through the 3 levels that are going to take you from just playing around with AI to actually building a faster, smarter, and more scalable business. And more importantly, I'll walk you through the turning point where AI stops being a novelty and a toy and starts actually building compounding leverage in your business. So this video is not about any hype. It is about execution, and that's why we're going to connect everything back into business and business workflows and how you can build a better company for you and your team. So let's break it down. All right, we're in Whimsical. We got a lot to go through today. Let me just first off cover off the 3 levels that we're talking about here to achieve business success with AI. First off, level 1, we've got assisted work, and we'll go through all of these in more detail in a second. The level 2 is integrated workflows. And then level 3, which is kind of like the frontier right now, is what most people, well, a lot of people are trying to get to, is autonomous agents. And if you can implement all 3 of these, and by the way, these aren't exclusive of each other. These things stack, and just because you get to level 3, it doesn't mean that you stop doing level 1, right? These are stackable levels. So at the minute, you might feel a little bit like this guy, right? And we're using our classic OpenAI Studio Ghibli style here to generate some really cool images. I really like this one actually. But yeah, this guy is stressed out. He's looking at ways to try and figure out how to build out automated workflows with AI and all that kind of good stuff in his business. But he's just struggling. And what we want to try and do is get you to feel like this guy by the end of this video, just with a bit more clarity. You understand the 3 different levels, although your levels system is back to front here and you got level 1 at the top. You've potentially got AI agents here that are potentially running some parts of your business. And most importantly, by this point, once you understand all these 3 levels, you do actually gain an extra hand as well. So keep an eye out for that one growing, because that's going to help your productivity gains. All right, so let's just get into, enough of this silly talk, let's get into level 1, right? Level 1 is assisted work. And this is where most businesses are at. And this is essentially just having AI open. And this might not just be you, it might be the rest of your team as well. You might be using these AI tools like ChatGPT or Claude to prompt it and then have it help you with work, right? It's just open on a daily basis. You have things that you need to deliver for clients. There's things that you need to do for your customers. And the AI is helping. And maybe it just helps you with your marketing tasks, whatever it may be. But this is the point. You're going to prompt it with, hey, help me draft this blog post. Help me come up with some ideas for this marketing campaign. Help me draft an email, whatever it may be. And you're working with it one-on-one. And it's going to give you an output, right? So there are strengths of this stage and there are weaknesses of this stage. We're going to go over these one by one. So obviously you get an immediate productivity boost because you no longer have to generate the work from zero. You get from 0 to 1 extremely quickly, or even 0 to 80% extremely quickly a lot of the time, and then you can just finesse that 20%. There's no tech stack changes required at this level, which is great. You can just use this new tool and it can help you with your daily workflow. And one of the key benefits of this is as you use it, you're learning how to prompt effectively. You want to be able to learn how to write good prompts to get good outputs. And this is really key at this stage to move to level 2. This is a really important skill that stacks to level 2. But there are obviously weaknesses here, right? So the weaknesses are, these are just one-off outputs. Although a lot of the tools are making good progress with memory, like OpenAI's memory features are getting better. And over time, I assume that memory is going to be something that is a solved problem. But at the minute, they don't have any memory or process. So as soon as you've done a task, once you open a new window, you're essentially starting from scratch every time, right? And then because of that, you're not getting any compounding business benefit. This is one-on-one help. You have an assistant that is helping you do work a lot faster. So no compounding business benefit. And then if you have multiple team members that are using these tools, they might all be learning different things, but unless you've got an active process to help your team share these learnings, which most people don't, then you've got a bunch of siloed learnings from the team as well, which can make this a little bit of a trap to get stuck here at this level. Your business performance doesn't really change. Individual productivity improves slightly, but operations remain human reliant and manual, right? So Yes, productivity improves, but it doesn't really transform your business all that much. I'm not going to harp on about level 1 too much because I think everybody will be familiar with this. This is where most people are probably at. And level 1 is good, right? You need this as a foundation to build onto level 2, which is integrated workflows. So how do you then build AI into workflows to start giving you real leverage in your business? You've probably seen a lot of this stuff with make.com, N8N, a lot of these kind of workflows. You've got very simple workflows like this. There is some data that is retrieved, and then we have the AI here that is doing a task, and then it's producing an output, and then that output is being stored in our database somewhere. Ideally, we have a business data hub that we are kind of working from here. We'll come on to that in a second. And then obviously these can go into slightly less simple, more advanced workflows as well, where you've got a bunch of different ChatGPT assistants that are doing multiple different tasks. But we're always taking inputs here, right, at the beginning, and then we're always producing outputs. And what's happening is the AI that lives in the middle is the thing that is helping us essentially produce better outputs from the inputs at a much faster pace, and ideally with a much better output. So that's where we're at with level 2. It's these integrated workflows. But to do this, you kind of need these things, right? Which is you need to have thoughtful processes in your business. If you don't have thoughtful processes and everything is ad hoc and, oh, this customer emails me sometimes and I do the work this way, and then this customer emails me in a different way, and then we have a slightly different process for that customer and for that. That's not going to work for this, right? You need to have thoughtful processes that your business runs from, because that means that you then have mappable workflows, and this is ripe for automation and AI leverage, right? So if you have thoughtful processes which are then mappable, you can get the leverages from AI and automation in that situation. And this is where most people are struggling with, is in stage 2. But there are a lot of strengths at this stage. This is where you start to get true ops efficiency, because your business is mapped out. Each function, you understand, hey, this is how we do work. This is how work moves from A to B. So now we can really add in AI assistant, AI prompts to help us do the work, and our team can just do much more work in a much more efficient way. You get consistent quality across tasks and teams. If you can dial in the AI workflows really well, which is, again, another point that some people struggle with, you can really dial in the consistency here and make sure that the output is consistently good and ideally improves over time as the models get better, the AI tools get better, because you're essentially just tweaking the workflows with the new parameters to make the quality consistent, but also better over time. And of course, you get clear, measurable ROI. Like, it's very clear to see if I implement this automated workflow with AI, this was previously taking us 10 to 20 hours a week. Now it takes us 2 hours, something like that, right? It's very clear to measure the ROI on these kind of workflows. Now, there are some challenges, right? So to get to this stage, this is what most people struggle with in business, is getting from stage 1 to stage 2, which is you need some centralized and structured business data. If you have your business data all over a bunch of different tools, let's say you got a bunch of stuff that's hanging around in Google Drive somewhere with loads of documentation on like how you actually do the work. You've got meeting data in Zoom, you've got CRM tool over here, you've got project management workflows over here, and it's all a little bit messy. And like I say, the processes aren't really thoughtful, and you haven't got a clear map of how work goes from A to B within your business. You're going to struggle to make the benefits, or to get the benefits, should I say, of this stage. You need that thoughtful process design. Once it is built as well, it does require maintenance, right? You need to understand, hey, how the workflow is working. If it's erroring out in certain ways, why is that? It needs maintenance and it needs to be tweaked. You constantly need to be maintaining these processes. But maintaining the process is a lot quicker than doing all the work from scratch. And one of the biggest things, and this is just my experience from the last 10 years of helping businesses implement systems and automation. Obviously, AI hasn't been around for that long, but I've been building out automation and systems for businesses for a long time. And a lot of the time, the hardest part of this stage is just change management. There's a lot of people in the team of small to medium-sized businesses that struggle with changing the processes, because if they don't have thoughtful processes and they don't have good grips on their data at the beginning, you have to move somebody through that stage. And if that's you, that can be quite challenging, right? So you want to make sure that if you're trying to move to stage 2 here, level 2, and you're trying to automate a lot of your workflows and get more efficient, a big part of that is actually just prepping your team for what's coming and making sure that everybody's bought in and is aware of the benefits that they're going to get. Because I've found this to be one of the biggest challenges over the years. But it's totally worth it, right? Because your business starts running faster, it starts running smarter. You can make better decisions based off of data. You can reduce human error on tasks and projects because, again, the AI assistant and the AI implementation can be a lot more consistent. And it by far increases the team output. It doesn't just supplement it like level 1 does, right? You're just supplementing the output, where this can really increase the output. So that's level 2. Oh, I just wanted to mention here as well, regarding the centralized data hub, I did a video on this. This is like one of the biggest problems that people have a little while back that seemed to hit. People seem to like that video. So if you want to check that video out, I will link it up here somewhere or in the description below. And then we'll move on to level 3, which is autonomous agents. And that's what most people are looking for right now. People are trying to get to this point. But to be honest, a lot of people are jumping here without even thinking about level 2. And that's a mistake. I would argue that most businesses don't even need to get to level 3. They just need to be focusing on doing a good job of level 1 and a good job of level 2. I spotted that typo. I can't leave it in. But what are we talking about here with AI agents? We're talking about trying to create agents that actually run functions of your business. So we're going to be talking high level here, but we've got like a marketing function, sales function, maybe got an onboarding agent, a PM agent, a service agent. And ideally what people are trying to get to is how do we get like an agent that can run our whole project management workflows autonomously, and we don't really have to do that. So before we jump into talking about that, let's just really understand like what is an agent really? And this is how I think about it. People will differ their opinions here, but this is how I really think about how an agent works, right? It's going to be an AI agent that has to be connected to live business data because it needs to understand what's actually the current state of play in your business to be useful. If it's only got old data, it's not kept up to date, it's not really going to be that useful for you. It's not going to be something that can actually live inside your business and act as a team member, which is what people are trying to get to. When it's connected to that live data, it needs to understand when it needs to wake up and do its job, right? So it needs to understand what its job is, but it also needs to understand when it wakes up and kicks off. And that might just be a simple chat. We chat with it, or it might be triggered based off of time. Every day at 8 a.m., do X, Y, and Z, or look at X, Y, and Z. It needs to review the correct inputs from the data, and it needs to decide very clearly what its next action is going to be. And usually an agent will have access to a bunch of tools to perform a bunch of different actions. So for example, like a project management agent might have access to Asana, ClickUp, Airtable, whatever it may be. And it can add tasks, it can remove tasks, it can update tasks. So it needs access to tools to be able to decide what the next actions are. And it needs to be able to produce reliable outputs. But at this point, if you're just talking about this here, these steps, this is just level 2 stuff that we just talked about. These are just deterministic workflows for the most part, but you're giving the agent tools and asking it to decide what its next actions are going to be rather than actually telling it what its next action is going to be, which can actually cause some problems sometimes. Once it's produced its output, it needs to, in my eyes, report back on what's been done and why it's done it. And I think this is the piece that makes an agent really, which is if it can chat to me in Slack, for example, and there's tools like Lindy that are really good for setting this kind of agent up, it can report back in Slack, and then I can ask it questions and say, hey, yeah, I understand why you did that, but that's not actually what I think we need to do. There is a human in the loop here that is going to make requests, and then the agent needs to be able to iterate on those requests. It's having a conversation like I would be having a conversation with a project manager, and then it needs to be able to then go back, iterate on those requests and actually produce an output again, and then come back and say, hey, I've made those changes. What do you think? So this feedback loop piece here is actually really important. And I think if you are just building like a workflow and saying it's an agent, I don't really think that it is personally, but everybody has their own opinion of agents at this point. But that's my 2 cents. Strengths of this stage are obviously if you can get to this point, the business functions can run on autopilot, which is very appealing. Systems can scale without headcount, and the speed to delivery is increased. You can output quicker, increasing your customer satisfaction, which is awesome. So there are obvious big challenges to this stage though, which is agents can be unpredictable and they can hallucinate. We'll come on to that in a second. I'm going to just go over in a little bit more detail, like why and how this happens. It can be complex architecture to build and maintain. Again, we'll come on to that. That's what this little line is here. And one of the big challenges is that they need to be connected to real-time clean data. And that's why you need to have level 2 nailed first. So that's why this stacks really well from like level 1 to level 2 to level 3, because having a clean data source and having a centralized data hub for all of your business information, that's something that we try and tackle in level 2, right? That's what we want to get nailed on for level 2 so that we can then build on really good workflows on top of that. Yeah, I've already covered this, right? So that's the danger here. If you skip level 2, you're going to lead to poor agent performance and a bad customer experience, which is not good for your reputation as a business. It can be time consuming to set up and get dialed in, really time consuming, because there's a lot of trial and error. So if we just talk about, the unpredictable and the architecture to maintain, and then we'll wrap this video up. So if we take our project manager example, I just wanted to kind of dive into this in a little bit more detail and explain like the challenges here. If you think about a project manager actually has like a lot of different tasks that it needs to do. It needs to, first off, it needs to understand the current project task list. It needs to be able to create new tasks. It needs to take in client requests. It needs to revise existing tasks based on the feedback and requests from clients, update project management software, provide client updates, check in with team for issues and blockers. If the team are struggling to deliver on a specific task, it needs to know why. Maybe the team is other agents, who knows at that point. It needs to keep up-to-date logs of what they've done. And these are just a handful, right? These are just off the top of the dome that I was thinking about the other day. There's probably a hell of a lot more, right? But just to illustrate a point, a PM does a lot of different things. So if you're trying to like build a PM agent, you get to the point where you can prompt all of this out and you can say, hey, you need to be able to do this, you need to be able to do this, you need to be able to do this. But the longer the prompt and the more tasks and responsibilities the agent has got, the lower the consistency of the output and the more variable and the more hallucinations the agent's going to have. So then what you end up doing is you end up breaking the agent out into micro agents, which is then managed by the main agent. So you end up with, let's just say, an airtable manager here, right? So this agent needs to understand the current project list, create the new task, update the software, and keep logs. Maybe then you have a communications one here, which is understanding the task list again. So these are shared tasks that it needs to be able to do. Taking client requests, checking with team, and then provide client updates. But then you could even say that's even too much for one agent to do as well. So you could then break this out and then say, okay, we just need an agent that just understands the current project task list. And then you go from there. You keep breaking it out so that you get these micro agents that are more reliable that can then report up into the main agent. But it's a funny thing, right? Because what you're essentially trying to do is just make these agents more deterministic, which essentially is just like building out a bunch of level 2 workflows, right? It's basically just building out, hey, if these things happen, then do these tasks and then provide this output. You're trying to like narrow the agents down. So that's why I think like most people don't really need to try and worry about AI agents right now. Most business owners, they just need to be concerned with doing level 2 really well so that when the technology gets there, which is going to be relatively quickly, we don't have to bother with this huge, complicated agent infrastructure because the technology will be able to work with a really good, solid foundation of workflows and data once it's ready. So that's my 2 cents. That's how you can get from using AI in a less scalable way in level 1 here, and then you can upgrade all the way through to level 3. But like I say, I think most people just need to nail level 2. So if you want help with any of that, you can reach out to me in the description below. Maybe you can join the Automation Architects community where we talk about this kind of stuff and we build out centralized business data hubs that we can run all of our automation and our workflows from. So if that's of interest, check that out below. And don't forget to subscribe, and I will be back soon talking a little bit more about that key source of truth and that data hub that your business needs to be able to nail level 2. All right, hope you like this one. Let me know where you feel like you're at. Do you feel like you're level 1, 2, or 3 right now in the comments below? And I look forward to catching up soon. Cheers.